Hey guys, I'm your host Olivia and welcome to season 1 of BCT, a Christian podcast that enables you guys to hear people from all different backgrounds talking and sharing stories about their walk with Christ. Follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Today I am joined by Chris Parry. Hi Chris.
Hey Olivia.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So, the sun's not quite out, but it's not raining as much.
Yeah,
so
I know, it's better, isn't it? Now, I have known Chris for a very long time, probably longer than I can remember.
Yeah.
Don't even know. How long have I known you?
Gosh. Do I give away my age?
Maybe not.
No.
So tell me a bit about yourself then, your likes, your family, and what you do for a living.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, my name's Chris. Mm-hmm. I call myself a Baglan boy, even though I think we moved here maybe when I was like 3. So we'll go for Baglan boy, living in Swansea now. I've been married for, let me get this right, 14 years.
Okay.
Got a crazy little 4-year-old. I work in marketing for a company out of the Philippines. I'm a long-suffering Manchester United fan.
Are you?
Yeah, we're going to be playing football after this, so I might be very sad later. I love music, playing, writing. I think that's it.
Yeah, you play guitar, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, how long have you been playing that?
Gosh, probably since I was 16, 17.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't progressed very much, but enough to do the job.
Yeah, I was looking back at old videos and photos of church when you used to play every week.
Yeah.
Miss that. You should get back on that.
I'm on Sunday.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not here.
Oh.
Gutted. Anyway, so what was your life like before you became a Christian then?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I listened to the podcast with Craig, which has that gone out yet?
Yeah,
it went out. Obviously, I heard it. This week, and very similar start to Craig when he mentioned, he brought up in church and been around church, and was sort of blessed by that. So yeah, being brought up in church, and I went every week, perhaps until I was 15, 16, which is when I got saved, and I hated it. I loved like my friends there, and I loved some of the fun things we would do, but I always hated like having to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was always a thing I did, I was ashamed of, and I think like as I started getting into my teens, I just didn't really want to go because you'd just rather be doing something else. It's not like church itself is bad or boring, or sometimes it can be those things, but it was more about I just didn't want to be there. So I know as I was, so again, to fully understand what it meant to become a Christian, I was actually at my wit's end with actually wanting to be in church and be around it. At the same time, I was sort of living a weird life because I sort of peaked early with some of the crazy things I'd get up to with friends, and just some of the bizarre stuff. You look back now, you think, why was I doing that? Or like, how did I get involved in that and with those sort of groups? And so as I was sort of navigating all through that, out of nowhere, one of my friends, Ben Buckley, who was in the church, not one of my crazy friends, he was always the sensible friend, but like my closest friend, he got saved, kind of like became a Christian, and I was like, oh no. like what's going to change? What does this mean? What does it like mean for him? What does it mean for me? So that was a big turning point for me. Really, was sort of having a friend who was in the church all of a sudden start to take it seriously, and I sort of wanted to explore that a bit more.
Yeah, so tell me about the time you actually became a Christian then.
Yeah, so like I said, it sort of sparked from there. And I'd heard, like, my grandfather was a preacher in the church we were at. I'd heard and listened to a bunch of sermons from your dad, people I knew, people I loved, people who made sense. But the message just never, like, stuck. And so I'd ask Ben loads of questions, like, what's happened, why this? And in fairness to him, he spent a bunch of time with me trying to explain it all.
That's good.
And sort of walk me through that. And then there was a period of time, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, where I was praying all the time, Lord, I want to become a Christian. It kind of made sense enough to me that like, oh, I'm a sinner, I need forgiveness. The message was starting to come alive. But like I didn't feel like anything was happening. So eventually, Ben got your dad up. And the three of us sat down, and your dad just like asked me a bunch of questions, and he's like, Chris, I think you might actually be a Christian. Like I don't know what you're waiting for or what you're trying to achieve, and I can't tell you when that was because it was over such a long period. But that was it. It was just our realization of what God has done. And look, you and I have both been brought up in the church. Sometimes people don't have these amazing, miraculous. Well, they're always miraculous and always amazing, but maybe not dramatic in terms of a change of events or circumstance in their life. And I was certainly in the category of someone who was slowly became a Christian.
Yeah, gradual. Oh, that's so good to have a good Christian friend that you can talk to and ask questions to.
Yeah, he's still nuts, and he was particularly nuts then. But it made all the difference.
Yeah, fair play to him with sticking with that.
Yeah,
I think it's hard sometimes as well when people ask you so many questions and you're expected to know all the answers and you don't always know all the answers, so it is hard.
Ben is he's a massive reader, really intelligent, as you may know. And I remember you would sort of like give me books like,
Oh, yeah.
I can't even write by like Roger Carswell and all these people who'd written these books, like answering questions. He's like, look, your question and your answer might be in here, or, try this one. So he was really good like that.
Oh, fair play. We all need to be like that. So since becoming a Christian then, have you faced any obstacles where looking back, you can now see God was working through your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I thought about this. I struggle to think of, look, there was this event, like one-time event, and now I see it. I kind of just see it over, like, my whole Christian life, with decisions that you make at the time or things that happen to you or others around you. So I look back and you're like, I can definitely see God moving now. Beth and I, we moved to the US for a few years and went through all that visa application process and moved to a new country and tried to figure all that out, and whirlwind first couple of months, and then all of a sudden you see what God is doing and the church we ended up at and the friends we made, and then coming back here and having our daughter and that sort of life-changing experience again, and you just sort of see God through it all. I would say through the whole thing.
Yeah, I didn't tell you that we were going to talk about it, but I just thought, could you tell us a bit about America and what you did out there?
Yeah. So my wife and I, we moved out to America August 2015 to 2018 to work out of Jacksonville, Florida. So that was super exciting for us. I was already working with a bunch of my Aussie American colleagues from over here remotely, so we had a chance to go out there. The classic, visa process, loads of forms, going to the embassy, and then we got accepted, and then we were like, oh goodness, like what,
what's happening?
What do we do now? And telling our parents is perhaps the most challenging and interesting bit. But they understood when they came out and they saw the sunshine, and they all wanted to stay then, right? We went out there, we worked for 3 years. And then when Beth got pregnant, we came back in June 2018. But perhaps the most exciting thing was the church we were part of. Out there was a large American church, which you can be so easy to judge from afar, because sometimes you're like, oh, they're crazy, like, what are they doing? But this is one of the good ones, and it was one of the growing ones. So it was a lovely time.
Will you ever go back?
We'd love to visit.
Yeah.
I think the opportunity's probably passed now in terms of, getting another visa, because my visa's obviously expired now. But Aussie's got a huge place in our hearts in terms of, if we were to go to the US, it'd be the first place we'd go.
Yeah. Oh, fab. I'd love to visit. So next time you go, let me know.
I was close to Disney, so everybody liked that.
No way.
Yeah, so like an hour-ish drive down to Orlando.
My days, no way. Oh my gosh. I think, did my dad visit you once?
I
thought
you came out with us. That was like a September, maybe 2017, and it was hurricane season. Yeah. So we didn't see too much of him because we were all locked in. Oh no.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. Okay, so before we close then, anything you want to say to our listeners?
Yeah. This is a great question. I think, and it ties back to sort of your previous question about sort of looking back and seeing where God's moved. I think what I'd like to say is it's just having a constant daily focus in who you are as a Christian and in who God is, rather than what I've found myself doing so much is going on autopilot.
Yeah.
I think now I've been a Christian for maybe 20 years. I'm not old. 20 years. And today, as I thought about this, it's made me think, right, when I got saved, it's made me think about where I've been and what we've done and how God's blessed us and how he's helped us. And I was like, oh man, you almost feel sometimes he's like almost too good to me based on like the way I've been or how I've walked through certain circumstances without really thinking, or sometimes without praying, sometimes without sort of putting him first, right? Putting your own best interests first. So yeah, I've just been coming to that point where I'm like, I just need to be way more focused, way more disciplined, way more appreciative of who I am in Christ and what he's got for me. So if there's anybody else who's kind of I'm in an hour, going on autopilot, it's just to help them stop in their tracks and look up.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Chris, for coming on the podcast.
Cool.
I really enjoyed listening to you and hearing your story. You'll have to come on again one day, maybe.
You will.
Okay, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of BCT. Let us know what you thought and also what type of things you want to hear us discuss and talk about more. You can follow us on mostly all the social media platforms to keep up with updates. Bye for now.
Goodbye.